that match happened yet? Or no? Okay. They're just warming up here then. I mean, that's the trouble, is that there's a few good matches you can have, right? Hello and welcome to beautiful Mesa, Arizona. We're here at the Mesa Tennis Club, and this weekend, this is not a tennis club, this is a pickleball tournament. We're here at the inaugural 2020 PPA, Professional Pickleball Association Tournament. This is the first stop in a set of 7 tournaments throughout 2020, where pro players from around North America will be coming to compete for more than $500,000 in prize money. I'm your host, Mark Rennis, and I'm going to be bringing you the live commentary all weekend long, and I'm really glad that you're with us. We're going to be shooting live today, tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. It's going to be great. We're here along with ProPickleball, and you can see right now we've got some players warming up here. Only half of the 4 women out here are going to be playing on this court. In a few moments, we're going to have Callie Smith playing with Irina Terashenko. You'll see them behind me. And they're going to be taking on Catherine Peranteau and her partner Andrea Koop, who just finished warming up here. There's great matches all over the place. We're going to be showing them all day long, so be sure to stay tuned. We're going to take a quick break right now. I'm going to get behind the booth, and let's get ready to watch some amazing women's pro doubles coming up now at the PPA event here in Mesa, Arizona. No, that wasn't me. That was
Attention everybody, we've got a high-level match coming on championship court. We've got 4 ladies that are 4 of the top players in the world. We'd love for everybody to come watch and take part of this match. Everybody make your way over to championship court. Thank you.
You are looking right now at the 4 women who are about to compete in this first round match here at the Mesa, Arizona PPA event. Of course, some pickleball players tend to warm up with their partners. So you see Callie Smith in the long sleeve black shirt, the white shoes with the gold sparkles. I bet we're going to get a look at that later on. And she's warming up with Irina Terashenko. Long sleeve blue shirt, white hat. Wearing the long pants. That's sort of a distinctive look for Terashenko. First to 11, winning by 2. One of the things that's really great about working with the crew at Pro Pickleball is the different camera angles that they're going to show you. You're going to be able to see nice wide angles, you're going to see great tight angles, you're going to see at the kitchen cam. Really top quality video streaming. If you are watching us right now, be sure to hit the like button. That way you can let your friends know you're watching, and even better, hit the share button. And that way you can let your friends, fellow pickleball players, maybe even your rivals know what's going on here in Mesa. It's a beautiful day. It's just after 11 o'clock local time. It's still a little bit cool. See players warming up here, getting ready to go, making sure that they're firing all cylinders. You'll notice here, this is something that rec players at home or even competitive players at home might take into account, is notice the way the players are warming up. Right now we see Tarashenko and Smith. They're actually playing real points, competitive points here. On the down the line, they want to make sure that sort of mentally they're ready to not just hit the ball back and forth. People on the other side of the net, but actually hit it in a way that challenges them. So you'll see people play real points. You see Peranto coming into the net. And now she and Coop are playing sort of modified points. They're not going to go full out just yet, but the idea really is to get the feel that they want to have for the ball. Of course, earlier in the day, the feel of the ball is a little bit different than it is as things progress. The official ball of this tournament is the Durafast 40. And that ball plays a little bit harder early on as it's a bit cooler out. And that means that the ball is going to fly a little bit more than it does later. So I expect that we're going to see you tend to see a few more errors early on, balls flying long. And right now you see the players having their final chats with coaches and supporters. They're going to get some instructions from the referee. Good crowd on hand already here early on this first Thursday of the tournament. The stadium seating was brought in yesterday. One thing to note is that that first row of the benches, the stadium seating, isn't too far away from the side of the court, and while most players that won't be an issue, these players are so good at hitting angles and so good at chasing them down for possible around the post shots, ATPs as they're known. Is that something that we are going to have to pay attention to? You'll see that there's no one sitting in that first row. That's to make sure that the players can have maximum space. You may hear that voice right now, the PA system going right now around the grounds here, telling people about this tournament, or this match that we're watching. That's Melissa McCurley from pickleballtournaments.com. Melissa McCurley, of course, the best in the business when it comes to putting on tournaments, to running them, making sure things are going smoothly and on time. She and her team do an unbelievable job of helping tournament directors provide the best possible experience for players and for coaches. And fans, too. A couple of interesting things we should tell you about here for this particular tournament. Every time that a game is at a total of 11 points, so for example, if the score was 7-4 or 6-5 or 9-2, we're going to go to a quick timeout. That way we can give some love to the various sponsors of the tournament. Also gives the players a moment to regroup. You may occasionally hear or even see airplanes going by. We're very close to a couple of airports here, municipal airports, as well as another airport here that craft. lots to see and lots to hear and lots to take part in. If you are thinking about coming down to attend this event, it's totally free to get in. We'd love to have you. Of course, we're going to be streaming primarily the best of the best, the pro matches out here. But there's also an amateur division, and you'll see the skill and age groups out here having a great time here at the PPA event. You're going to see, looks like Terashenko and Smith will be serving first. There's no sort of set rule for who serves first or not when you win the toss. Some players like to get the ball in the paddle early on. There we go. First serve, the PPA event Women's Pro. Irina Terashenko serving to Andre Koop.
Versus Wendy Steiner and Angela Cox. Goldfrey and Hackman, Steiner and Cox. Report to the tournament desk, please.
It's always interesting to see at the beginning of a match what kind of patterns the teams might start to use.
0-0-1.
Here, Koop talking to Peranto and Smith about the ball, and there we go. Like I said early on, that ball is a little bit colder, doesn't bounce quite as high. It's a harder ball,
1-0-1.
and it's a little bit cold. Peranto with a good third shot drop poach to take that ball when it was a little bit high, let her attack. I was talking a moment ago about the patterns that we might see. So far we've seen Koop and Smith going after each other. And there we see a little bit of an exchange between Terashenko and Peranto.
2-0-2.
Scores 2-0-2. There we go. Very low bounce off that turn of serve. A good low slice, something I'm seeing a lot more of. I think we're going to talk about over the course of this tournament is the way the players are using shorter returns actually strategically. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. In the meantime, we see that pattern again there between Koop and Smith. Catherine Peranto telling her partner that's the pattern we like. You saw Callie Smith try to tee it up there, try to counterattack.
0-2-2.
0-2-2 is the score. Smith to Peranto. So that forehand from Peranto catch just the outside of the line. Irina Terashenko would have loved to have called that ball out, but she's such a good sport out here. If there's any doubt at all, she's going to call it in. This is something that we will continue to see both in the women's doubles, the men's doubles, and the mixed doubles, as the pros are so good at getting those balls off the top of the net. They expect that it's going to dribble over. As Koop nets that forehand volley.
0-2-1.
The score is 0-2-1. Terashenko Smith looking to get on the board. This is what we call a reset, folks. Look at that. So in that case, good defense. A reset, if those are not familiar with the term, is when your team is on defense, when you're backing up. Usually, opponents are hitting hard. And, of course, we see the pop-up right there off the backhand of Koop that Terashenko puts away. And a reset is when you're in that defensive position, especially from back in the court, and you're able to get that ball down low to your opponents, usually as a drop that they can't attack, and so it neutralizes them, which of course is the reason that we hit drops and digs. It's a way to not win the point necessarily, but to keep your team out of trouble. A lot of trouble caused by that high forehand volley. Callie Smith makes no mistake.
3-2-2.
Bit of a run here. Terashenko and Smith now have the lead, 3-2-2. They were down 0-2 for a while. And with that, ball in the net, it's a side out. Andrea Koop will take over serving duties.
2-3-1.
2-3-1. Continue to see Smith and Koop go at one another. Finally, Terashenko gets an opportunity on her forehand. A little overzealous there, puts the ball in the net, and we're locked. 3-3. Smith trying to make sure
3-3-1.
she's clear whether they're going to stack or play straight up. It's a great third shot drop. A lot of topspin on that drop off of the forehand of Koop.
4-3-1.
4-3-1.
Susan Henderson.
It's an interesting attempt there by Parenteau. She saw that Terashenko was on the left side of the court, moving over to the right. Thought there might be an opening. Arena's so fast. Not fast enough to catch up with that body shot. Forehand volley of Parenteau.
5-3-2.
5-3-2 is the score here.
Let out. 3-5-1.
3-5-1. Callie Smith serving. Good backhand slice return from Parenteau. What an exchange at the net. The crowd's going to like that one. A lot of reflex volleys back and forth. This is something that we're seeing. This is not the pickleball of old where it was all about slow dinks all the time. Of course, dinks have their place for sure. We're going to see a couple here, I bet. There we go. But what players are looking to do is they're looking to speed things up if they believe they can cause trouble. And so they'll play these slow, low dinks as long as they're in a neutralized position. And I think that the chances for going hard successfully are limited. And Callie Smith got that ball high enough on her forehand that she was able to drive it down low at Parenteau. 4-5-2. A nice drive poach combination there. Callie Smith plays that forehand drive, and anticipating the ball over the middle was Terashenko. She got what she wanted. 5-5-2. Smith and Terashenko, sometimes we've seen them stack so far, but we've also seen them play straight up and then switch. There you go, that's a difficult backhand drive from Koop. The difference, of course, between stacking and switching is when you difference between switching and stacking is when you're stacking, you'll put both players on the same side of the court initially, and then they'll spread out as the point unfolds. And when you're switching, you'll typically start in a normal position, straight up as we call it, sort of just trying to deceive your opponents into thinking you're going to play one way, and then as the point goes to switch to cross. Eight 5-1. Parenteau and Koop looking to extend their lead here. They'd love to win game number one, put the pressure on Terashenko and Smith. That ball is just long. I think we're going to see a timeout here. 9-5-1. The timeout. We're going to go to a quick timeout. We'll be back in a minute after this word from our sponsors.
Pickleball is very, very different. 8 to 10 matches in one day, and each match could be 45 minutes. Being able to start and go and stop is very, very challenging. When I'm taking Jigsaw Health supplements, I have the confidence to stay out there all day, and I can stay focused, energized, and cramp-free. I wouldn't recommend Jigsaw Health to any of my opponents. You guys continue drinking whatever you're drinking right now.
And we're back live, Mesa, Arizona, here at the PPA inaugural event. The Pro Pickleball Association, you are looking at a first round pro women's match. Catherine Peranteau about to serve along with her partner Andrea Koop, taking on Terashenko. Irina Terashenko, Callie Smith. 9-5-1 is the score. This is a race to 11, win by 2. This is game number 1 of this match. It's a good backhand volley from Smith. There we go, 10-5-1. That's going to set up our first game point. Expect Peranteau to be pretty aggressive. That's a good deep serve. And there it is. There she is, aggressive with a high forehand volley. A nice drive poach combination. Andrea Koop with a solid double-handed backhand. Peranteau there to pick up the garbage over the middle. And we're going to roll into a quick commercial. We'll be back in a second for game number 2 here, the PPA event, live in Mesa, Arizona.
Pickleball is very, very different. 8 to 10 matches in one day, and each match could be 45 minutes. Being able to start and go and stop is very, very challenging. When I'm taking Jigsaw Health supplements, I have the confidence to stay out there all day, and I can stay focused, energized, and cramp-free. I wouldn't recommend Jigsaw Health to any of my opponents. You guys continue drinking whatever you're drinking right now.
Welcome back, PPA, Mesa, Arizona. I'm your host, Mark Renison, and if you're just joining us, you're about to see the beginning of game number 2 here in this first round match between Andrea Koop, Catherine Peranteau. They're going to be serving, and they're taking on Irina Terashenko and Callie Smith. Peranteau and Koop took game number 1, 11-5. And with that forehand error into the net, Terashenko will take over serving duties. What we saw in game number 1 primarily was the strategy of going at Callie Smith, as you're seeing right here. Terashenko, for the most part, frozen out of the game as soon as things got up near the net. She's going to see if she can get herself a little more involved here. I expect in this game that we see Terashenko start to cover a little bit more over the middle. She's got that solid two-handed backhand that she loves to hit. And here's that familiar pattern again. Smith and Koop going at one another. There we go. That's a difficult... That's about the 4th forehand swinging volley we've seen off the forehand side of Peranteau. Okay, you see Smith and Terashenko stacking. Expect to see a down-the-line drive here to the open court. And perhaps anticipating that she was going to have to run so much. Smith misses that return in the net. 1-1-1. Koop so solid off that two-handed backhand. It's one of the reasons we're seeing so many players on both the women's and men's side now starting to use those two hands when they get into those quick exchanges. Koop jams Terashenko on the forehand side. A good place to go for when you're hitting hard is that forehand hip. Irina does a little court maintenance out here. 3-1-1. Koop and Peranteau off to a good start here in game number 2. And when things are rolling, things are rolling. A little bit of luck off the top of the net. You saw Peranteau put up her hand a couple times, apologize. She's happy to win the point, but would rather win it on a clean winner. Scores 4-1-1. Catherine Peranto goes for the inside-out forehand drop, a little bit wide. And this time we're going to see Callie Smith stay in her position. Tough serve. Something else that we can look forward to over the course of the weekend is the prevalence of the challenging serve. Not necessarily to win the point outright, as we saw a moment ago against Terashenko, but even just to cause trouble, make it hard to hit the return. So this hydration break is brought to you by Jigsaw Health. Jigsaw Health, it's fun to feel good. Six 6-1-2, Catherine Peranto serving to Irina Terashenko. Terashenko and Smith need to step something up here a little bit. Looks like there was a kitchen violation there. A non-volley zone infraction by Callie Smith, the right foot. It's going to lead to 7-1-2. Now, I said a minute ago how we can expect to see players going for a little bit more on the serve, trying to cause some trouble for the opponents. What that will mean, however, sometimes is that you play that ball a little too closely and hit the ball in the net. And there we go, a free point. This may be contrary to what some of you have heard in your pickleball experience about how you should never miss your serve. Players don't love to miss their serve, but sometimes that's the price you got to pay if you're trying to do something offensive. Wow. What a forehand from Irina Terashenko. So well disguised. This is a real signature of hers, the ability to hit with topspin, but also to hit the outside part of the ball with that forehand. The right side of the ball gave it not just the spin it needed to get up and down, but also the angle to get away from the players. And I'm quite confident that Peranto did not see that ball coming. Really well done from Terashenko. Just going to see a little bit more of that here if she and Smith are going to stay close in the second game. Peranto misses with a little bit of a slippery shot of her own, a little bit wide. Scores 4-7-1. There's that reset we were talking about earlier, the ability to get out of trouble by playing a drop. It's great pickleball out here from these four women. Trading blows back and forth, could have gone either way. This is going to be a quick timeout.
It's no secret, I lose so many electrolytes when I play. Eventually, I either start cramping or I run out of gas.
Electrolyte Supreme gives me enough energy and hydration.
They prevent cramps, and what's really important to me, they help me to recover quicker.
I know I can push myself a little bit more and not have to worry about cramps.
I feel better, I feel good, and it's fun to feel good.
We're feeling great, we're energized, and we're ready to have a great day, right, Lucy?
And it's fun to feel good.
Welcome back to this first round women's pro doubles match here at the PPA Mesa, Arizona event. This is the inaugural event in the 2020 season. First of 7 tour stops. 5-7-1 is the score. Callie Smith serving along with Irina Terashenko. Terashenko puts that ball into the net. She knows that's a makeable ball. She's got to do better. 5-7-2. A few errors now that we've seen here recently from Peranto. Might be thinking that Smith and Terashenko might go at her for a little bit to see if they can keep that streak alive. It's an interesting example of Peranto right now being a little more conservative than she was earlier. Terashenko not being conservative there at all. She likes that one. Sometimes that can be the turning point. One good aggressive move that gets rewarded. We're at 7-7-2. Let's see if Terashenko continues that aggressive play here. That backhand drive from Smith set up a little too high and not quite fast enough. Peranto is so good at counterattacking. 7-7-1. Peranto, such a good defender there. Coming 3/4 of the way to the splits on that backhand defensive shot. 8-7-1. Smith and Terashenko continue to go at Coop. There we go, Callie Smith counterattacks. Bit of a mishit. And the size of that swing suggested to Peranto the ball was going to go out, but the fact that it was a bit of a mishit took some speed off of it. That ball falls in. 8-7-2. If you're just joining us, we're in game number 2 of this best of 3 match. Peranto and Coop won game number 1, and they're 2 points away from winning game number 2 and this match here. 9-7-2. There we go. Terashenko sees that one coming a mile away. Ball's a little too low for Coop to attack at that speed, even with the topspin that she is so good at applying. 7-9-1. Let's see if Terashenko can hit that surprise forehand again. Just got to wait for the right time to do it. Right now, Smith has got to be happy that she outlasted Coop there. Hasn't always gone her way in this match so far when they have had those slow ball rallies. There's the drive poach combination, and that ball also goes long. 9-9-1 is the score here. And with that error, a missed return of serve again. The strength of the serve, a hard serve that gives your opponents less time to set up. Players are going to take a quick hydration break, and this hydration break is powered by Jigsaw Health. It's fun to feel good. And we were just saying before that how important the serve can be, both to cause trouble, but even to make your opponents miss outright. And when you're serving at 9-9, the returners are going to feel a little bit of pressure, especially when the serving team has been on a roll. We saw that backhand return of Peranto land a little bit long. We're going to see how aggressive they are with this as Callie Smith serves to Andrea Coop. 10-9-1. This is game point. Smith, Terashenko. And there it is. There it is, game number 2. That was probably the rally of the match so far. Great patience exhibited by all 4 of these women, as well as the ability to defend when under attack. So this match is locked at 1 game apiece. We're going to go to a quick break. We'll be back in a moment with more. Game number 3 live from Mesa. And we are back. You are looking at Championship Court here at the Mesa Tennis Center. We're at the inaugural Pro Pickleball Association first stop on their tour of 7 here in Mesa, Arizona. This is a women's pro doubles first round matchup. Andrea Koop, Catherine Peranto looked like they had a stranglehold on this match. They were up a game. And 6-2, I believe, in the second game. Callie Smith and Irina Terashenko, great job of coming back, of defending, of Irina Terashenko playing really good offensive pickleball at just the right time. They managed to win game number 2, and this is the start of game number 3 here. 0-0-2, Terashenko serving to Koop. The ball goes right through the middle there into the broadcast booth. Gotta think here, that's not a great start for Peranto and Koop to lose against a slow ball through the center of the court. That miscommunication, not something you can afford against a team of the caliber of Smith and Terashenko. 0-1-1 is the score. Looks like there was a mistake on the receiving end right there. Terashenko is not supposed to have received that serve. 1-1-1. Gotta wonder whether that's a mistake that's going to haunt Terashenko and Smith. It's a mistake that sometimes will occur when players are doing a lot of switching and stacking. 2-1-2 is the score. Look for Terashenko to use that forehand. There it is. She's going to step out to her left, sometimes even putting herself outside of that sideline. If she believes by putting herself there, she's going to be able to use that forehand effectively. You're going to see her take that little bit of risk. We've already seen a few forehands off the Terashenko paddle that really caused trouble for Koop and Peranto. Speaking of causing trouble, Smith wanted that ball, lands just a little bit long. There's a bit of wind. She checks with the ref. Oh, it looks like that ball is being overruled. That ball is going to be overruled. 2-2-1. So a little bit of drama here in game number 3. We've had a bit of everything. We've had a miscommunication from Peranto and Koop. Watch out. There we go. No miscommunication there. That ball was trickier than it looks, folks. That ball was up high. Right there, Callie Smith looking into the sun and the wind pushing the ball back toward the net. So even though it looked like an easy ball high on the forehand side, looks can be deceiving. That ball called out. That ball called out. A bit of a dispute. Terashenko asking if they want to replay the point. 3-2-2 is the score. He's getting a little bit heated here on championship court in this first round match. Look at that. Terashenko looking to poach again. They've had success when she's been aggressive. And here's the pattern we saw earlier. Coop and Smith. Callie Smith so good at that counterattack. Wow. There's not a lot I can say after a point like that. This is what modern pickleball looks like. When you watch the best players, it is about taking it at one another, and they are so good at not just defending against those attacks, but counterattacking themselves. What a treat to watch. All right, with that, Peranto and Coop, they get the ball back. Hoping that's a bit of a momentum shift for them. They didn't like the way things were going. Scores 2-4-1. Look at that attack. Ball is just wide. Scores 2-4-2 here. We've got Catherine Peranto serving to Callie Smith. This is game number 3 here. The winner of this match will go into the second round of the main draw. There's that counterattack pattern we see again. Once again, your friendly neighborhood broadcaster doing a little ball boy duty here at the back of the court. 3-4-2. Here's that pattern. So we've seen a number of times today. Sometimes that's been a down-the-line pattern when Coop and Smith were heads up against each other. Sometimes it was on the cross court. 4-3-1, Irina Terashenko serving. Game number 3. One of the things you may have noticed is how often the return of serve is being hit to Terashenko. Let's see if Coop does it here. And Callie Smith comes right up to the net. She puts all her eggs in the basket, assuming that Terashenko is going to play the shot that she should, especially if it's a drop. More often than not, she is correct. There we go. Peranto trying to fire up her team there. Good battle at the net. You see those swinging forehand and backhand volleys. And, I was saying a second ago that we saw Smith come right up to the net even though Terashenko hasn't even hit the ball yet. That's something you can do and get away with if your partner is good at playing great third shots, that they're consistent at it. For many of you at home, if you look across your partner and they aren't one of those pros, you might want to think about staying back a little bit, waiting to see what happens, what kind of ball gets hit. Okay, there's going to be a 1-minute timeout here as these players change ends. We're going to be back in a second. Stay close.
Not today. Break's over. You dropped something.
That's a wicked backhand.
You were looking at championship court here in Mesa, Arizona at the Mesa Tennis Center. This is a first round pro women's doubles match between Callie Smith and Irina Terashenko and Catherine Parenteau and her partner Andrea Koop. Koop and Parenteau won game number 1. Terashenko and Smith won game number 2, and they're now serving at 6-3-2 here in this third and decisive game. Make that 7-3-2. This time Parenteau hitting the return of serve to Smith. That's dangerous because it does allow Terashenko to come to the net. Okay, there's going to be a quick referee timeout here. Jigsaw Health. We'll be back in a second.
People have this conception that pickleball, oh, that's an old person sport, but I don't think they realize how physically demanding it is with those quick bursts and long, grueling points. The first US Open, I found myself cramping in 2 different events. When you start cramping, it's too late. And when I first started playing, I wasn't ready for that. The biggest difference I feel on the court with Jigsaw products is I'm not cramping at all. It gives you that mental confidence that your body's going to hold up. Jigsaw products will provide a lot of value to you both on and off the court.
We're back live. Mesa, Arizona PPA inaugural event. The score is 7-2-2. Callie Smith, Irina Terashenko going on a little bit of a run here in this third and decisive game. Just before the break, we were talking about how sometimes you might return the serve to the player you're trying to avoid. Most balls have been going to Smith, except the return of serve often goes to Terashenko, keeping her away from the net. And you'll see here how she comes in, and look, you can see why they want to keep her away from the net after poaches like that. Smart strategy from Terashenko and Smith. 9-3-2. With that, we get the side out. And there we go. We see once again the Terashenko forehand, high forehand volley. Be sure to stay around after this match is over. We're going to do an interview with the winners. On-court interview with the winners. In the meantime, we're going to continue to watch this great play. With that ball off the top of the net, off the Terashenko backhand, that's going to be a point. 4-9-2, Andrea Koop serving. Ball is just a little bit wide. You could see Catherine Parenteau looking to attempt an Ernie there if that ball did come back over. We'll talk later today about how players might decide when to go for an Ernie or not. In the meantime, that is going to be a non-volley zone violation by Andrea Koop. That is going to set up game point, 10-4-1. And with that backhand in the net from Parenteau, that is going to be game and match to Terashenko Smith. They win in 3 games. Stay tuned. We're going to do a quick interview with them, and we've got more matches coming up. We'll take a quick break. Then I'll be back with the interview. Stay close.
I got your new paddle.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Could you sign it?
Yeah, I signed all those.
That's not your signature.
That is indeed my signature.
But I did not see you sign it myself, personally.
Okay.
Maybe just a...
All right, Mark Renison here. You just watched a great match while the players get their congratulations from friends and supporters. We're going to have a quick interview in a second with Callie Smith and Irina Terashenko. You're going to want to stay close because we've got live streaming happening all day long right now. We're showing women's pro matches today here on Championship Court. It's now heating up here in Mesa. It's a beautiful venue, beautiful courts. You can see Irina and Callie signing some balls. Right now you see Lee and Annalie Waters behind me. We're going to be seeing them throughout the course of this weekend, I bet. And be sure to follow us. So if you're watching here on Pro Pickleball, be sure to share it so your friends know that we're watching, know that you're watching, and they can see it too. You can see Irina hitting a couple balls into the crowd right now. Everyone likes that. That's not the safest thing I've ever seen. Okay. And you be sure to follow everything. What else can we tell you about? So PPA, of course, you can find them on Instagram, Pro Pickleball Association, also ProPickleballassociation.com. We are joined now by Irina Terashenko. I was worried that we almost lost that ball for a second.
I would have signed another one.
So Irina, won't keep you for long. I just want to know, so that was a real momentum shift. You two were down, you lost game number 1, and game number 2, you really sort of came back. Was there something that triggered it, something that you two did differently to kind of shift things in your direction?
Well, oftentimes you kind of go into a black hole and you just hope it ends sooner than later. And this black hole was a little longer than I would like to, but I stayed positive and just kept staying with the strategy. Maybe the only thing we switched, we kind of decided that I'll probably play on the ad side for the rest of the match. We both got a good feel for where we want to be, and that was maybe the only adjustment.
It seemed as the game went on a little bit more, you start to be a little more aggressive, right? Early on, they were mainly hitting to Callie, and using that drive poach combination seemed to be effective, especially when they hit that return of serve to her. They hit more of the returns of serve to you initially to sort of keep you back off the net, but crossing across the middle there seemed to really work for you.
Yeah, I think Callie and I were actually talking about it earlier today. What is our identity as a team? And I think it's probably a little bit more on the aggressive side. So we want to create those combinations, 1-2 punch combinations, whether it's third shot drive and a poach or third shot drop and a poach, and see how many points we can win quickly. The quicker?
Yeah. Speaking of identity, that one little forehand you hit that totally caught everyone off by surprise. It was almost behind you. That little, I would say that is a signature shot. Is that fair to say?
Maybe. I did close my eyes and swung, so that is definitely signature.
All right. Thanks a lot, Irina. Good luck going forward.
Bye, guys. Thanks for watching. Shout out to everybody in Tucson and my homies in Arizona.
She's over there. She's chatting. She's getting sunscreen applied to her. All right, well, there we go. Irina Terashenko, what a pleasure to have with us. We're going to be back in a minute. We've got more great action coming up. Be sure to stay close. Mark Renison here live, Mesa, Arizona, the PPA inaugural event. See you soon. All right, you're looking at Championship Court here in Mesa, Arizona. We're here at the inaugural PPA first tour stop of the year. This is the first of 7 stops, more than $500,000 in money for the pros. And we've already been treated to quite the match prior to this. And right now you're looking at Lee and Annalie Waters in the pink and black. You will often see them color coordinated. As well as Taylor Uhl and Cassandra Gerke. And they're just getting final instructions from the referee. And we're going to get ready to have the first serve in a moment. And this seems like a good chance to introduce the first guest that we have this weekend. We're going to have a few different people coming through the broadcast booth. And what we sometimes like to do, special guest, is we like to not tell people who we have just yet.
That's a very good idea. I wonder who the first person that can guess my voice will be.
We should make some sort of special prize. Speaking of special things, be sure, if you're watching on Facebook, be sure to hit like and especially hit share. That's how you can let your friends know what you're doing, what you're watching, and to see some of this great pickleball action. And we're going to be streaming live all weekend long. So, special guest, do you want to give us a couple clues? Here, I can ask you some questions and maybe you can answer them and then that will give a clue.
I like it.
Okay, so if you could only hit one shot, like one pickleball shot for the rest of your pickleball career, and you had to choose just one, the one that you could kind of like go to all the time, what would that special shot be?
You know, I really, really love hitting the Ernie shot. As long as I have a good partner that can cover the rest of the court, I don't mind having 2 feet out of bounds with my paddle up ready for that Ernie.
Okay, so that is a very good clue. So our special guest, sometimes you'll see her when she plays, is she's got such a strong high forehand volley that she'll actually set up on the left side of the court with 1 or sometimes even 2 feet outside of the sideline, just sitting there with that paddle up ready to bounce.
I don't know why he's laughing at me right now. Getting bullied already.
No, it's fun to watch. It's unique. Actually, I was teaching a clinic not too long ago, and we brought that up, right? This idea of it doesn't really matter whether you're playing mixed doubles or women's doubles or men's doubles. It doesn't really matter how you divide the court with you and your partner, so long as you're both on the same page.
Yeah, and it's covered completely.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that would be a good second clue, is that you have a partner who can cover a lot of territory.
Mixed doubles and in doubles. I get very, very lucky. I don't know how or why, but I get lucky with awesome partners.
Yeah. All right, let's see if we've got any guesses so far.
I feel like I'm practically giving it away.
Too easy.
Oh, too easy?
There's a whole bunch of guesses. Yes, it is in fact Lindsay
Oh my
Newman.
gosh, everyone. Shoot.
Yeah, there are a
Too
lot
easy.
of Terry. That's true. There are a lot of Newmans. That is a fact.
But the fact he guessed the right one is bonus points
Yeah.
for Terry Hartley.
All right, if you are watching us on Facebook, feel free if you want to say hello to Lindsay or you want to ask some questions of her. She's going to be with us for this match, helping us understand a little bit more about what it is that we're going to see in front of us. And I think it's fair to say that Waters and Waters are the clear favorites in this match.
I would think so. I mean, they've won probably a couple more titles than Cass and Taylor have. So they also probably hit the ball a lot harder than they do, but I think Cass and Taylor will try really hard to try to slow it down, mix in a couple funky shots. I know Cass will probably look to Ernie because she loves doing that too. So it'll be interesting.
So you'll see here, Lindsay, the players are warming up their serve right now. It's Lee and Annalie, and I think a lot of non-pro players at home will say, "Wow, when I go out and I go play, like we don't really warm up our serves before we play. Why? I mean, it's not that hard to get the serve in the court. Why are they wasting time warming up their serves?"
You know, I'm actually one of those people, thank you for, again, throwing me under the bus, who will not warm up their serve, because I do like to think it's so easy. I just get the ball in the court, that sort of thing. I am personally trying to change that mindset. I'm going to try to work on a deeper, more powerful serve. Sometimes it's just getting the serve motion down, just getting a few under the belt to make sure nothing's funky or anything like that. It's probably not the shot you want to practice the most in a warm-up, but just to get a few shots, I don't think it hurts anything.
Is it also fair to say, in the last match we were watching, both Catherine Peranto and Callie Smith really seemed to use their serve not just to start the rally, but to cause trouble. We saw quite a few sort of poor returns that were able to be attacked.
More important, I think it's that shot that not a whole lot of players pay a whole lot of attention to, but I think that'll be changing any time now.
All right, we see Cassandra Gerke serving to Annalie Waters. And early on, you're right, Lindsay, we saw Cassandra looking for that Ernie attempt.
And Taylor's crafty. I think she just kind of came on the scene not too long ago. I know she came from soccer, but she's crafty. It'll be interesting to see how the Waters handle her.
Annalie Waters handles that high backhand volley very well, but you got to think that Sandra and Taylor are pretty happy with making Waters work so hard on that first point.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the key to their success, is making them hit a lot of shots, a lot of balls, playing a whole lot of defense and battling it out.
So that's a combination that I think we can expect to see, where one of the Waters will drive that third shot, and then the other one, instead of just moving forward, will actually look to cover the middle. And why is that drive-poach combination a tactic that a lot of the players will find effective?
I mean, it works. It's as simple as that. It works. If you can get a nice low drive, typically, the person at the net might have some trouble handling that. Putting it deep in the corner, so they're just going to typically hit it down the middle of the court. And if you have a partner that's quick enough and can put that next shot away, the shake and bake works. Cass cannot miss those shots. We have to get every single return serve in the court. Got to make them play. She does not like that she missed that one.
Interesting technique from Taylor Uhl. She stands quite upright, and unlike some of the players, especially the ones who come from tennis backgrounds, where you'll see kind of like their whole body engaged when they're hitting the ball, when you see some players, she actually reminds me of a little bit of Jeff Warnick
Yeah.
out there, right? Standing
Yep,
upright,
yep.
really just using sort of her hand and arm.
Not a whole lot of, knee bend, but
Yeah.
she's ready. She has really quick hands, especially for just kind of starting out not too long ago. And like I said, she came from soccer, so she has really quick feet and is comfortable with her movement.
All right, right now we're seeing from a few of you that you're hearing the audio great, and we'll get the video sorted out in a second. I'll see if I can do this like it's like a radio broadcast.
Play by play.
That's right. It's so tough because it's so quick to do.
Yeah,
it here.
yeah, it's hard.
We spoke a moment ago, Lindsay, about how Taylor, sort of a distinctive style. She doesn't come from a tennis background the way that some of the other women that we see do.
Yeah.
Do you have a bit of a sense of her athletic background?
All I know is that she came from soccer. Like I said, she's pretty new on the scene, so I don't know a whole lot about her. I think I've only played her once personally, and like I said, she's crafty, she's quick, doesn't bend her knees a whole lot, but she's ready at the net. She wants the ball, and she has a lot of future out of her.
Okay, so we're going to see if we can provide you a little more commentary. The score is 0-7-2. Taylor Ull serving to Annalie Waters. They're hitting cross-court dinks back and forth to each other, backhand to backhand. Gotta
Speed
think.
up.
Yep, and Annalie, of course, happy to take even the lowest balls and hit hard. In that case, goes the wrong way for her.
It did not turn out well.
1-7-2. Cassandra Gerke, Taylor Ull playing Waters and Waters. And with that Ull dink in the net, it's going to be a side out. Lee Waters serving from the right side at 7-1-1. And Lee Waters' third shot drive handled by Ull, forcing Waters into the slow game.
Ooh, good overhead.
And Lee Waters tried the cross-court lob over Ull. She moved well. She's quite a tall player, able to put away the overhead. Lindsay, maybe you can tell us something about when players choose to play a lob. That's something I'm hearing more from people about, these offensive lobs that they want to play. And you've got a decision to make, right? To play that lob down the line, to play that lob over the middle, to play that lob cross-court.
Oh, what a battle. Oh, got too excited.
Do you have some advice for people at home who might be listening in this case, who, when they're trying to make that decision about which direction to lob, how might they make that choice?
Well, I personally have partners that have better shots than I do, so typically they will hit most of the lob. You're asking lob-wise, if I'm going to hit a lob, or if I'm going to throw up a lob?
Let's say you've decided to lob. You're in a dinking rally, and you've decided that you're going to play a lob.
Okay.
And you could hit down the line, you could hit cross-court, you could hit down the middle. Like, what kinds of factors might you try to work into it?
Well, typically I'll try to hit over the least tall person. That gives me more margin of error for my lob.
Is that another way of saying the shorter person?
The shorter person, yes. I'll typically hit, over the shorter person. Typically they're gonna have, if they're gonna try to hit that lob, they're gonna have a lot harder trouble hitting it. And if they don't decide to hit that and their other partner decides to hit it, they're gonna have to move their feet a lot, and that's gonna put them a little bit out of position. So if I will throw up a lob, I'm gonna try to aim behind the shorter person. And,
what if they are the exact same height?
Ooh.
And same jumping ability?
I will typically still try to go cross court. I'm not typically gonna lob straight ahead, I don't think, unless I really, wow, what a shot. Unless I really think it's there.
Because I guess it's a longer distance on the diagonal, right?
Distance.
So you've got more room to work with.
More margin of, more margins. And I think if it does go kapooey and you don't throw up a good lob, you have more time to react to an overhead slam in your face.
All right, it sounds like I'm seeing here on Facebook that the video is back. And you're back just in time for a quick timeout. We're going to be back in 1 minute. Watch this terrific word from our sponsor. We'll be back.
I got your new paddle.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Could you sign it?
Yeah, I signed all those.
That's not your signature.
That is indeed my signature.
But I did not see you sign it myself, personally.
Okay.
Maybe just a...
All right, welcome back to Championship Court. You're looking at Lee and Annalie Waters taking on Taylor Uhl and Cassandra Gerke. And we've heard from a lot of you that you're enjoying the Jigsaw Health commercials. And they are a major sponsor here at the PPA Tour. Score is 10-1. This is game point here. 10-1-2. Annalie Waters serving to Taylor Uhl. You know what? You can afford to miss that shot at 10-1-1.
You know, I was gonna say you never want to miss a shot like that. But you know, when you're up 9 or 10 points, you can rest assured you'll get another chance most likely.
All right, looks like it was the wrong server there. That's a mental unforced error from Gerke and Uhl. We should see if Taylor and Warnick want to play some mixed doubles together.
You know, Jeff Warnick has a pretty good partner in Jesse Irvin, so I don't think he would switch that up.
On an off day,
but like on an exhibition style, or you know, for a Dairy Queen Blizzard, maybe he would switch things up a little bit.
All right, switching things up. 10-1-2. This is game point here, and Lee Waters switches it up with a lob serve to the backhand of Gerke. There's the poach.
Cassandra, a layout. Cassandra Gerke with the layout.
The first one of the PPA Tour that we've seen, and with that, Waters take game number 1. They're going to take a quick hydration break, and we're going to be back in a minute more with Mark Renison and Lindsay Newman here from Mesa, Arizona.
That's lit. That is lit.
All right, welcome back. We're getting ready for game number 2 here on day number 1 at the Mesa PPA event. This is the first stop of 7. And if you're just joining us, Lee and Annalie Waters took game number 1 in decisive fashion. And we're here at the beginning of game number 2. This is an early round match. I'm Mark Renison, joined by Lindsay Newman. And Lindsay, I mean, not that you're in a position where you lose too many first games 11-1, but I'm sure you've been there. You've been there. What would Taylor Uhl and Cassandra Gerke be talking about to try to turn things around at least a little bit going forward?
It's a good question. I was going to ask you the same thing. I guess if it was me, I would try to just think to myself to hit high percentage shots. You know, I think they were, you know, Cass and Taylor might have been a little bit nervous, a little bit tight. They both missed shots that normally I don't think they would have missed. So just hitting those balls, you know, no stupid mistakes, and just getting ready to buckle in and battle out. That was good. Not hitting out balls would be one of the things. So how about you, Mark? What's your game plan?
I mean,
you can look at it two ways. You know, you can either go out there and say, gosh, we lost 111. Let's just go out there and ball out. Let's just, you know, hit as hard as we can. Let's just go out there.
Is that the technical term?
I don't know. I'm going to call it ball out. Or you could say, you know, option 2 is, you know, let's slow things down a lot. Let's try to just play defense. You know, that sort. You can either do like an offensive front or a defensive front.
Yeah. I mean, and sometimes, like, winning pickleball matches is sometimes about you and your team playing well, right?
Yeah.
But it's also sometimes about finding ways to make the other team play worse.
True.
Right? Yep. And so, you know, I'm not sure, you know, I guess at this point right now, Cassandra and Taylor have to hope a little bit that Waters and Waters are going to miss shots that they, you know, and
well, I think they have to put some more pressure on them too. You know, I think there comes to a point where you don't want to sit back.
Maybe they give them a little shake and bake themselves.
Yeah, make them think a little bit. You know, throw in some things, throw in some shots that might not be expected, and see how that goes.
We had someone asking on the Facebook stream whether it hurts less to get hammered by a 13-year-old instead of a 12-year-old.
It hurts no matter who you lose to. It hurts if you lose to an 80-year-old or an 8-year-old, honestly.
You lost to many 8-year-olds?
I don't think so. but I'm still young. That can still happen.
Yeah, no, it's tough. I mean, and
losing's losing.
It's a nice example by Taylor there. I know, you know, it's the last shot that she wins the point off the top of the net, but to be able to absorb the speed, and it's not, you know, I think a mistake that sometimes players make is when they receive hard shots at the net is that sometimes they're too focused on hitting things slowly rather than just getting it low.
Yep.
Right? Because whether you hit the ball with speed or slower, if you can reply with a low ball that forces your opponents to hit up on the next shot, that limits their ability, right? If you slow it down against Lee or Anna Lee, but it's a high ball, like the trouble is not going to end, right?
Trouble, yeah.
So Taylor did a really good job of getting that volley down low, and they're going to need another low ball here if they want to end this emergency.
Cass is all over the place. Wow, good shot.
And that emergency ends, but with a winner off Waters back in
And that's what they're
volley.
going to have to do. They're just going to have to grind and try to get every single ball back and just hope, I think, that the Waters make a mistake.
4-0-1. Third shot drive again, ball set up. Okay, Lindsay, while we're here, I want to test out a theory with you.
Oh gosh.
So, I'm starting to notice some of the top players returning serve short, and intentionally short.
Okay.
But in many cases, these balls are still not being attacked. They still end up being like a third shot drop.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it's because we're starting to see people start to prioritize the height of the return rather than the depth of the return, right? So if you serve to me and I mean, you'll probably still attack it, but if you serve to me and I get it back short, let's say just past the kitchen, but it's a low ball, especially if it's like a low ball that's got a fair bit of backspin.
Yeah.
And that might still sort of neutralize you enough because you're hitting from so close to the net, because you're having to hit up, that you actually can't hammer it the way you could, you know, let's say it was a 3/4 court return, but kind of high.
Yeah.
What do you think? Short return, is that the new thing for 2020? Short and low.
I don't think it is. I'm going to say that's a hard no on the short returns for 2020.
Okay.
I still think people should try to aim deep. I think that is still the smarter shot. I don't think we should be giving false advice. I think that's really dumb, Mark.
but I'm just saying, so let's see. Okay.
I think people are just missing short. I don't think anyone's trying to do. I would be shocked if anyone's trying to do that on purpose. Because what would be the game strategy? Like, I don't understand.
Well, that
they're gonna hit up and you're gonna be at the net ready to smash it. Like, is that the strategy? Or if you keep them back and they have a weak return, they pop it up, then you're at the net and they're like, I don't think there's any advantages to that.
But if you see, so like I was thinking back to another term I saw recently, and I can't remember whether it was Weinbach I was watching or Wright or those guys. Is I was often seeing the return land, certainly not always, but often seeing the return land not very far past the kitchen, but it still wasn't being hammered. Right?
Yeah.
They were still forced to play that drop because it was so low. Because it was so low to the ground.
I guess maybe in that sense, you're hoping that because your opponent's running to the ball and they're not set, maybe they throw up an erratic shot or something. You know, because you want to be set when you hit your shot out. But if you're running up to hit a short ball, maybe you're just hoping your opponent misses. I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll see. Well,
I would be interested to hear what other people have to say about that.
Maybe this will be a recurring theme.
This will be a recurring guest speaker question.
All right. And with that point there, Waters and Waters commanding lead here. They're at 9-2-2. here in game number 2.
I don't think any timeouts have been taken. I don't know if I agree with that strategy myself.
Wow. Great cross-court played by Taylor Ewell. Annalie's able to get to it and reply with one of her own. And that's going to set up match point. Pardon me, 10-0-2. Short return.
Yeah. I don't think that was on purpose.
Not attacked.
But I don't think, because it was too low.
That's my point.
What's your point?
We'll talk about it later.
I'm confused.
With that, Annalie and Lee Waters take this match in 2 straight games. A dominant performance by them. We're going to see if we can get a quick interview with them after this. We'll be back after this quick break. Stay close. Lindsay, thanks a lot for joining me.
Thank you, thank you.
And so if instead we prioritize the height of the return.
Ask them.
I will.
Ask Steve.
Not now. I want to give them the
I don't know. I think you're full of it. Full of baloney.
I'll take some stats.
Okay.
All right, welcome back to Mesa. I'm Mark Renison along with Lee and Annalie Waters. Dominant performance, ladies. Did this go pretty much to plan?
Yeah, I mean, the first match is always hard, especially when you get a bye first round because you're kind of cold and the other team's already had a match. So I think we did a good job of staying focused and really, working together as a team well and not being, so distant in the first match.
All right, and I've got to say, we were talking a little bit about the serve. Lindsay Newman and I were watching. You two spent quite a bit of time warming up the serve. What would you say when you're hitting that serve? What's the kind of thinking? What's the strategy behind your serve?
Okay, so first of all, I'm trying to get a good tempo because if you kind of are a little hitchy in your serve, that's when the errors start. So I'm trying to get a good tempo, and I'm also working on getting the ball deep. We have a little bit of wind, so kind of feeling out how hard or how soft we have to hit the serve to get it deep without it going out.
All right, well, congratulations on this victory. Good luck going forward.
Thank you.
Do you want a picture of us? Sure. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. It was great.
In pickleball, the last thing I want to think about when I'm playing is cramping or if you're able to perform 100%. Last US Open, I was playing singles and I was feeling like my right calf was getting really stiff. And I was just like, okay, how can I help my body to perform better? When I start taking Jigsaw products, I'm gonna have energy, I'm gonna have good endurance, and I don't have to worry about me being tired or I'm gonna cramp, so I can just play 100%. You only have one body, so you need to take care of it.
Welcome back to Mesa, Arizona, here on Championship Court at the inaugural PPA first stop of the tour. This is a tour of 7 events across the United States, more than $500,000 in prize money. And right now you're looking at a third round match here between Irina Terashenko, Callie Smith, and in the matching pink, 2 women we just saw earlier, or I should say woman and a girl, Lee Waters and Annalie Waters. This is 0-0-2, the first point of this best 2 out of 3 match.
Can I have a PPA representative to return to press, please? PPA rep.
Terashenko gets a little bit of help from the net right there. That's going to happen a lot because the players must keep the ball so low to the net, so tight, if they're going to avoid being attacked. 1-0-2 is the score. Waters are definitely going to test out the blocking abilities of Terashenko and Smith. That is the ability to receive those fastballs from close to the net and not pop them up, but instead play back a low ball that's difficult to be attacked. There's a nice example there and a good low volley from Terashenko. Here we go. Something you can expect to see from Terashenko is that she steps out to her left, uses that forehand, rolls it inside out to the backhand of her opponent as a dink, and then looks for something high that she can pounce on. Good blocks from Terashenko there. This time she hits the net, but it does not favor her. Instead favors Waters and Waters. 1-1-2. Terashenko looking to use that forehand again. Earlier today, if you weren't with us, we saw Terashenko and Smith come back after being down a game against Catherine Parenteau and Andrea Koop. And in the post-game interview, we talked with Irina about their strategy, and she agreed that when she started to take more control, be a little more aggressive, especially up near the net, that good things happen for them. So we're going to see, there's a nice example of her probably with the right plan there. Just overcooked that turkey a little bit and hits the ball into the net. 2-1-2. We love hearing from you, so if you're watching on Facebook, be sure to say hi. I'm going to try to do a little more chatting with the viewers. 1-2-1 is the score. If you've got some questions about what's going on or what you're seeing, happy to talk about it. Waters overpowers the backhand of Terashenko there. Here we go. There's that pattern we see, the inside-out forehand from Terashenko, looking to get something high. That was something high off the top of the net, but handcuffs Terashenko a little bit. Ball goes out, and that's going to be a point. Terashenko Smith just making sure they're on the right side. Callie Smith gives a signal that she's going to switch, so watch for Terashenko to return the serve. She's going to come to the net, and they're going to switch. Again, with Terashenko on the left, so important she can keep that ball low off the volley, and she does. Because Lee Waters was looking to pounce there. (4-2-1) is the score. Seems like Oh, seems a little bit uncertain there. Don Stanley, of course, holding court out there. One of the most seasoned professional referees we have in the sport. That is a nice top spin third shot drop from Young Waters. 5-2-2. And that is a clean winner. You don't often see that. Really important strategy here. We're going to talk about a little bit more afterwards. Looks like that's going to be a timeout. This hydration break brought to you by Jigsaw Health. Be back in a minute.
I've tried a lot of other products, plenty of electrolyte mixes. They either contain some sort of sugar in them or something to give you a boost for a little while, but eventually it runs out.
Jigsaw products help me stay competitive. They help me stay energized.
It's helped me become a better player.
Jigsaw helps me recover faster.
I think all of you need Jigsaw Health in your life. And you know why?
It's fun to feel good.
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 It's fun to feel good. Cheers.
And we're back live from Mesa, Arizona. Mark Renison here. We are looking at a women's pro doubles match here on Championship Court. Lee and Annalie Waters are serving. They're leading here right now against Irina Terashenko. Don Stanley, 6-2-2. Waters controlling this first game. With that ball in the net, you might call that a successful timeout by Terashenko and Smith. It's always nice to get a stop after calling the timeout. 2-6-1. That drop sits up a little bit too high for Smith, and that's too aggressive from her. Terashenko was looking to poach. This was something we saw earlier when Terashenko and Smith were playing, is that most returns were hit to Terashenko, trying to keep her off the net, as we see there, allowing Smith to come forward. And what we would typically see is that when the return did in fact go to Smith, Irina would come forward and really be aggressive there over the middle, which more often than not paid dividends. Irina Terashenko had that high forehand lined up. Lee Waters trying to push things a little bit there with a bit of a flick off the forehand side. Terashenko is so good at sitting on that forehand, ready to pounce. 4-6-2. Smith, Terashenko clawing their way back in this opening game. And there's another one for them. Looks like we're going to have a quick 60-second timeout. We're going to be back in a second with more, the conclusion of game number 1 here from Mesa. Welcome back to Championship Court here in Mesa. Lee Waters and Annalie Waters jumped out to an early lead, but Callie Smith and Irina Terashenko pressuring them here. 5-6-2 is the score. That ball just sails a little bit long. That's one of Smith's favorite patterns there, is to attack off that backhand side, even against speed. Sometimes can't quite keep up to it. 6-5-1. Here comes the drive. That last shot notwithstanding, that's a nice example of how Waters and Waters really, I would argue, more well-rounded as a team than people often give them credit for. Of course, they're known for their power game, but we saw a great example there of their ability to defend and to reset the point, to play a good drop that let them get back into the action. Something that I think sometimes we underappreciate about those two. Hey, Danny Santiago from Arizona. Oh, from Hawaii. Well, that's nice, too. Glad you're watching. There we go. We talked earlier about when that return goes to Terashenko, which is more often than not what their opponents have been doing. Callie Smith has eagerly moved forward, and more often than not, she's okay doing that because Terashenko is very steady with her third shots. That one sat up a little bit too high, and Smith paid the price. You see she's staying back now a little bit. Lee Waters, so powerful. There you go. That ball catches off the top of the net, goes just a little bit out at the sideline. Looking through the comments here a little bit back, Luke Kramer was asking about a conversation I was having earlier with Irina Terashenko, and I was arguing that perhaps we're going to see, for exactly that reason we saw just there, a return of serve that's actually a little bit shorter, but most important about it is that it's low, forcing the upward hit. And we saw right there that was a low return. Lee Waters drove it anyway, and because she had to hit on an upward trajectory, the ball goes out. So I don't know if you're in Arizona right now, if you're, well, I guess even if you're watching at home and you want to start to keep some stats, I'd be curious about how often the serving team is hitting the third shot from inside the baseline as opposed to on or behind it. And my hunch is that we're going to see a little bit more. There's a little bit more on that forehand volley from Annalie Waters. Looks like there's going to be a quick timeout here. 9:52. We'll be back in 1 minute for the conclusion of game number 1. Referee Don Stanley lets the players know they've got 15 seconds to go. We're back live. Mark Renison here, bringing you the commentary all weekend long here from Mesa, the inaugural PPA event, Pickleball Professional Association. 9:52, we've got Lee Waters serving from the right side to Callie Smith. And that's the shake and bake that sometimes it's referred to. On the men's side, it was Marcin Rospetsky out of California, and Morgan Evans, that we would also often see that drive poach combination. There we go. That ball goes through the middle. And a well-disguised shot. It was nice and low. Perfectly played, so it wasn't really clear to Terashenko or Smith who was going to take it. 5-9-2. That's the way to hit the spot. There we go. Look at that. This is something we see. We talked about at the start of today, how the pro players always assume that that ball is going to come over the net. They are never surprised when it touches the net and comes over. And that lack of surprise means that they have a chance to make a play on it like that. We saw there from Terashenko. So athletic. go. Mistimed that backhand swinging volley as a counterattack. Irina Tereshchenko did. That ball goes out. Just a quick reminder, if you would like to become a member of the PPA, your first year can be free. Go to their website and use the promo code FIRSTYEAR. This is, of course, the first year of the PPA, the Pro Pickleball Association. More than $500,000 in prize money to be won over the course of the year. 7 stops on this tour. 9-6-2 is the score. With that ball going just out, it's going to be a side out. 6-9-1, Tereshchenko serving to Lee Waters. There we go. So we've talked about the drive poach combination a number of times today, where that third shot is hit hard and low and then the non-hitting player crosses over the middle. We also will see drop poach combinations, especially off a deep return like that. Because when that drop gets hit, the net team will typically try to play back at the deeper player. So the person who didn't hit the drop will look to poach, anticipating a ball over the middle. Tereshchenko once again sitting on that forehand, ready for the attack. These players will always assume that the ball is coming fast. That way if it does, they're ready to handle it. And if it doesn't, they just play a dink. No big deal. There you go. Ball sails just a little bit long off the Tereshchenko forehand flick. 9-7-1. Lee Waters serving here in game number 1. Pro women's doubles. Just rip it, says Tereshchenko. They have had success when she's hit hard. This is game point number 1. Lee Waters serving to Tereshchenko. And Lee knows how to rip it. Well defended. We talked earlier about how important it is to keep that ball low when your opponents are attacking with speed. Unfortunately for Tereshchenko Smith, the threat is not over. 10-7-2, game point. And that ball goes just wide. All right, game number 1 goes to Waters. Waters, 11-7. We're going to go to a quick timeout. We're going to be back in a second with game number 2 here from Mesa, Arizona.
Matt Wright, Kyle Yass, court 2.
So, how did you do?
Won that one. On to the next.
Michelle Esquivel, court 3. Ben John, Joey Ferrarius, center court.
Gotta go.
Lucy Kovalovica.
Good luck.
Irina Irina, court 3.
All right, welcome back to the Mesa Tennis Center here in Mesa, Arizona. I'm your host, Mark Renison, bringing you live coverage all weekend long here from the first Pro Pickleball Association event of the year. And if you're just joining us, we witnessed Lee and Annalie Waters taking game number 1, 11-7, against their opponents, Irina Tereshchenko and Callie Smith. And Waters are going to try to build on that first lead. They've now got the sun at their back, which is nice for them. And a little bit of wind in their face. Not too much, but there is a bit of a breeze. Players will often prefer to have the wind at their back. It helps to speed up the drive a little bit. But I would venture to guess that Waters don't mind having the wind in their face a little bit. They've got no problem adding power when they need it, so having a little bit of wind can help keep those balls in play. 0-0-2. Annalie Waters serving to Irina Tereshchenko. Talk about sitting on a forehand there. We see Callie Smith. She's ready to handle that one. 0-0-1. Callie Smith venturing pretty far over there. Scoots her way back, though. And Terashenko misses that ball in the net. Good deep return from Terashenko. Difficult to hit a effective drop from way back there. And if you can't hit an effective drop, it's tough to work your way forward. That ball looks like it was just out. It's going to bring up Lee Waters to serve here. A lot of discussion going on between Waters and Waters, and right now they're setting it up so that Lee is on the right side with her backhand in the center of the court. Speaking of backhands, that's a solid two-hander from Callie Smith. Really one of her signature shots. So strong on that left side. 0-0-1. Tarasenko once again sitting on the forehand, mishits a little bit, which means that Lee Waters can't quite catch up to it. Just got announced the next match coming up after this one on this championship court is going to be Lucy Kovalova and Simone Jardim taking on Jessie Irvin and Lindsay Newman. That's going to be a match that you want to stay around for. But in the meantime, we've got a great match in front of us right now. (0-1-1) is the score here. Both teams trading side outs early. Got a few of you commenting on the quality of the stream here. You're right, of course, that the quality is very high. That's thanks to Carl Schmitz and the team at ProPickleball. And the best thing you can do to compliment us, if you like what you're seeing, is to hit that share button. Let other people know that you're watching. Give them a chance to watch as well and see this great women's pro doubles action today. Wow, watch out. There we go. And through the 5-hole. For you hockey fans out there, or non-hockey fans, I should say, that's a reference to when you score a goal between the legs of the opponents, between the goalie, that's known as the 5-hole, and that is exactly where that ball went. Okay, Terashenko at last. Lee Waters there on that left side cross-court dinking exchange. 2-1-2. Terashenko a little frustrated with herself, missing balls she feels like she should make. Telling herself, just put it in the court, anywhere, even the middle will be fine. She does go to the middle. There's the defensive lob. Waters. I talked earlier about how Waters now have the sun at their back, and so that's why you saw that defensive lob there, hoping that was tough for Terashenko and Callie Smith to play the overhead, but goes just long. Terashenko loading up on that forehand again. That really is her go-to. We've talked about it a number of times today. I saw a question someone had earlier about whether there's a television contract for the tour events. I don't believe so. I believe that this is sort of the format you're going to be seeing throughout the course of the year. This is the team at PPA is not running this as a 1 year kind of event. They're in it for the long haul. They've committed serious time and effort and resources into making this possible, and who knows what the future holds. But right now, the future is that we're going to go to a quick timeout at 4-3. We're going to be back in a second. More live from Mesa. Hey, does it sound good? Yeah? Oh.
Matt Wright, Kyle Yates, Court 2.
So, how did you do?
Won that one. On to the next.
Michelle Esquivel, Court 3. Ben John, Joey Ferrarius, Center Court.
Gotta go.
Lucy Kovalovica,
Good luck.
Irina Sarah.
Four, 3-2. Irina Terashenko serving to Lee Waters. Callie Smith, so good. The deceptive little forehand flick there. She sort of had her shoulders and body going left. Instead, she hit straight ahead. And being able to disguise what you're doing, deceive your opponents is so important. The first drop by Terashenko was great. The second one, not so much. 3-5-1. Just a reminder that Lee and Annalie Waters won game number 1. They're down a couple here. Well left by Lee Waters. This is something that really differentiates levels of players, the ability to know when not to hit the ball. And Lee Waters, great example there. Terashenko calmly plays the ball off the top of the net. This will be tough for Waters to get out of. He tries to do it with power. And again, what you'll see is players would do that because drops have to be so precisely hit that if they're not perfect, the emergency will continue. And so players sometimes what they'll do is in those emergency situations is try to drive it, but with players the caliber of Terashenko and Smith, so good at handling speed that in that situation, it's probably not going to save the day driving the ball from back there. Another ball off the top of the net. Ooh, that ball barely caught the line. Irina takes it close. They're gonna call it in, I think. They're gonna call it in. (5-4-2) is the score. See, Mary Darcy Bittner saying she's amazed at how quickly Callie Smith moves her feet. One of the things that people often underappreciate in pickleball, how well you swing at the ball doesn't really matter if you can't get to the ball. And so I would argue that the main skill of pickleball isn't actually hitting, it's moving. And you will find that as you go up in level, you'll see more steps and smaller steps. Whereas when you go down in level, you'll see fewer steps and bigger steps. And players will take those smaller steps to adjust, so that they're not just kind of like set up to the ball, but set up as perfectly as possible when they hit it. And so those small, fast steps are so key. You can almost think of when you see boxers preparing for their fight, is they take a whole bunch of like small little bouncy steps so that they can adjust precisely. And that's what you're seeing out here from these 4 women. Seeing a good battle there at the net with two-handed backhands. Callie Smith comes out on top, and she likes that. Let's say hi to Steve Norman, who's watching from New Zealand. New Zealand spent some time on the North Island a number of years ago, and a really beautiful place to be. Diane Warner, not too far from my hometown in Ontario, Canada, dealing with the snow. It's beautiful here today. It started out a little bit cold earlier, and I still wouldn't say it's hot, but pretty ideal conditions here as Annalie Waters serves 4-5-1 to Callie Smith. Good presence of mind there from Terashenko to stay on that ball. That's what we call a reset there. Callie Smith able to defend with a good drop eventually, but can't quite hang on. Five, 5-1. There you go. That's a great counterattack off the backhand side again from Callie Smith. Got Carol Wood watching from the Villages, Florida, a place that many people will know about if they're involved in the pickleball world. There we go. Okay, that's going to be a quick break. This hydration break brought to you by Jigsaw Health. We're going to be back in a moment with more. The conclusion of game number 2 from Mesa, Arizona.
In pickleball, the last thing I want to think about when I'm playing is cramping or if you're able to perform 100%. Last US Open, I was playing singles and I was feeling like my right calf was getting really stiff. And I was just like, okay, how can I help my body to perform better? When I start taking Jigsaw products, I'm going to have energy, I'm going to have good endurance, and I don't have to worry about me being tired or I'm going to cramp, so I can just play 100%. You only have one body, so you need to take care of it.
You were looking at Lee Waters, who's getting ready to serve from the left side of the court to her opponent, Irina Terashenko. 6-5-2 is the score. Waters won game number 1, 11-7. A nice backhand down the line from Waters Sr. Catches Callie Smith a little too close to her body. It's exactly what you want when you're playing those flicks. Revo Revity noticed that, yes, it is indeed head referee Don Stanley. He's heading up the crew of the referees that we have here at the PPA circuit. Chris Spitzig in Sarnia, Ontario. We'll stay here for a moment. From Sarnia, Ontario, a beautiful place in northern Ontario. They've just added a whole bunch of beautiful new pickleball courts out there in Sarnia. And while the players have this hydration break sponsored by Jigsaw Health, we'll take a look at some of the other people who are watching. Steve's telling us about the pickleball in New Zealand. Inviting everyone watching right now to go visit him. Stay at his house, I bet. Love to have you, show you around of the ropes. Hope you don't mind me volunteering you there, Steve. Annalie Waters and Lee Waters are serving here. 7-5, you hear that airplane go over. We're quite close to Municipal Airport. 8-5-2. Waters and Waters would love to win this game and close out this match. And And that ball just catches the inside of the court. Just enough topspin. We talked earlier about how Waters are hitting into the wind. That was definitely a wind-assisted flick there that stayed in the court. 9-5-2. That ball just sails long. That's going to send up match point here. 10-5-2, Waters. It's going to be a quick timeout here. We'll be back in just a second for match point, Waters.
The day before I start match day in pickleball, I make sure I have all my electrolytes. I would use the normal sports drinks that I grew up using. I started taking Jigsaw electrolytes. It's been beneficial and helped my game improve a lot. I know that throughout the day, I'm gonna be fine for those 12 to 14 hours if it takes that long. My body's gonna hold up. So that was great, not having to worry about one more thing besides just playing pickleball.
All right, welcome back. We've got match point here. Lee and Annalie Waters serving to close it out against Irina Terashenko and Callie Smith. 10-5-2. Had to think that ball was coming pretty soon. It's not too many dinks in a row that you see from Waters. And as that ball goes off the backhand of Callie Smith into the crowd, Lee and Annalie Waters take this game and this match. 11-7, 11-5. They're going to be moving on to the next round. Speaking of the next round, they're going to play the winner of the match that's coming up next here on Championship Court. This will be a doozy. You won't want to miss it. It's going to be Lucy Kovalova and Simone Jardim taking on Jessie Irvin and Lindsay Newman. So we're going to go to a quick commercial break. We're going to be back in a second with an interview with Lee and Annalie Waters, and we're going to tee up the next match. So stay close. Mark Renison from Mesa, Arizona at the PPA first tournament of the year. Hey, welcome back to Mesa, Arizona. Mark Renison here at the inaugural PPA event. This is the first of 7 stops, and you just finished watching Lee and Annalie Waters winning their match. 2 straight games. Must be nice to come out of that. We're just saying must be nice to win that in 2 straight games and take a little...
Yeah, it's always nice to win in 2 games. Third games, you got the nerves going. It can be a little dicey.
The person who wins the second game has all the momentum going into the third.
Yeah, I told Anna Lee, I said, let's stay on top of them and finish this out.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. So right now, I'm sure you're going to be taking a peek at the match coming up. We've got Lucy Kovalova and Simone Jardim, and they're taking on Lindsay Newman and Jessie Irvin. What can we expect to see from this match, do you think?
I mean, I think it's going to be a lot of steady play. I mean, none of these players make unforced errors, especially Simone and Lucy. They really work the point until they get that shot. I think you'll see Lucy play a little bit aggressive, and so we'll see what happens.
And earlier in the year, we did see, when especially notable when you were in Dallas, is that you two at the kitchen line, especially against the big power hitters, tend to be off that little line a little bit. Can we expect Annalie to see that in your next match?
I'm sure that's how we play. That's our game. That's what makes us different from other players. But it just gives us that one extra second to react to the hard ball, and we're probably going to speed it up. So we know it's coming back hard.
All right, well, I know everyone's going to be looking forward to it. I will as well. Go get a break, and we'll see you back here on center court soon. Thanks again. All right, we're going to be back in a moment with this next match coming up. It is Lucy Kovalova and Simone Jardim taking on Lindsay Newman and Jessie Irvin. It's going to be a good one. So quick break, and we'll be back from Mesa, Arizona. You are looking at Championship Court here at the Mesa Tennis Center in Mesa, Arizona. Not too far away from a municipal airport where you will occasionally hear the aircraft going by. You can see Lucy Kovalova warming up. It's the first time we've seen her on Championship Court today, along with her partner in the green long sleeve shirt, Simone Jardim. And warming up with one another are Lucy and Simone's opponents. Jessie Irvin. She's in the tan colored shirt with the blue tights, and her partner Lindsay Newman in the long sleeve white shirt and the visor. We had Lindsay here in the broadcast booth earlier. Love having a player of her caliber in here with us, being able to provide some insight. And these players are just nearing the end of their warm-up. You'll notice I always like taking this opportunity when we watch the warm-up is to highlight some of the things that we see the players do that you at home might be able to incorporate into your own warm-up. So you'll see the players spend a lot of times up close to the net, volleying quickly back and forth at one another. We can often call those reflex volleys. Reflex volleys are really important. You can see here in Newman and Irvin hitting those reflex volleys. And also notice that Jessie Irvin is hitting those from three-quarter court. She's doing that. You can see a combination of driving the ball and also resetting it, a low drop that can sort of defend against a faster shot. Because that, of course, will be important against players with the firepower of Jardim and Kovalova. You see Simone doing the same thing. So really what the players are doing here is they're trying to warm up with the kind of intensity that they're going to need when they start to compete. And sometimes players, when they warm up, they do it kind of at warm-up speed, right, at a slow speed. And then what that means is when it's ready to go, it sometimes takes them a moment, a few points even, to get adjusted to the tempo of the play. And of course, they can't afford to use the match to warm up. That's what the warm-up's for. I'll remind you about a couple things right now. If you're enjoying the broadcast that you're seeing, be sure to hit share. That way your friends can see it as well, and we can all enjoy this pickleball together. Also a reminder that you can get your first year of your PPA membership for free. Just head over to their website, ProPickleball Association.com, and use the promo code FIRSTYEAR. You can see the rankings, you can get discounts, and more. And there's a lot of great content as well here on Facebook for Pro Pickleball. You can go over and you can see the PPA Instagram page. I know we often share the work that they do. Look up Pro Pickleball Association on Instagram and you can see some of the great behind-the-scenes action going on here at this PPA event and the other 6 that will be going on throughout the course of the year. If you're watching us on Facebook here, let me know. Say hi to me. Let's see who we've got out here looking right now. Oh, we've got my good friend Orlina Sauer out of Minnesota. Regina Franco's here. CJ Germstad. Just watching. Lauren McLaughlin, good friend of mine. She was in the broadcast booth with me earlier this year. Fun fact about Lauren and our time together is one time we laughed so hard that we actually could not speak. And so we had some dead air happening over there. It had something to do with when you would cross a beaver and a moose. It was funny at the time, I promise. Ben Johns is joining us. Really looking forward to seeing him later on this weekend. Yeah, BJ Peters asking that code again. Here, I'll write it in here. So here's the link. ProPickleBallAssociation.com is where you go. You can get, there's a lot of great information over there, ProPickleBallAssociation.com. And use the promo code FIRSTYEAR. 0-0-2, Lucy Kovalova serving to Jessie Irvin. We are underway here in this women's pro doubles main draw match here in Mesa. A lot of notable things to watch during this match, and we're going to talk about a number of them. First one I would say to pay attention to is the grip. The grip that Lindsay Newman uses, the way she holds her paddle, different from all three of the other women out here. They all use what's known as a continental grip most of the time, sometimes an Eastern forehand grip when they put their hand a little more behind it. Eastern forehand grip is kind of like you're holding, like you're shaking hands with someone, whereas a continental grip is almost like you're holding a hammer. Wow. Wow. That was one of the other things we should notice. That ball caught Lucy by surprise. We'll talk about how strong Irvin is on those low forehands. And unlike those grips that we see from Jardim, Kovalova, and Irvin, Lindsay Newman, who's about to serve here, she holds the paddle almost as though she's holding a frying pan. And we call that a semi-Western forehand grip. Really closes the paddle face, and it's one of the reasons she can get so much spin on some of those forehand ground strokes. Quite different technique from Newman out there. As that Jardim backhand goes into the net. Different game style than we've seen earlier here. You're going to see the players work each other. We talked with Annalie Waters about how this is what she expected, is that the players are going to play this soft game. They're really going to work each other. And that is exactly why. Lucy Kovalova speeds it up. And the team of Irvin and Newman so ready for that ball. All over it was Jessie Irvin with that two-handed backhand. So again, you've got to be quite certain that if you're going to speed things up off of a low ball, that you're going to be able to do some damage. You're going to be able to cause some trouble. 4-1-2 is the score here. Irvin and Newman in the lead. And with that backhand in the net, we get a side out. Simone Jardim is going to take over serving. 1-4-1. And that ball catches the inside of the court. In that case, Kovalova had to shift over to her right to cover the hole created after Jardim was pulled out wide. And Jessie Irvin wisely puts the ball down the line into the open court. There we go. Earlier, when Lindsay was in the booth here with us, we talked about lobbing and when to play the lob and both what direction you'd hit the lob. And we talked about how cross-court gives you a little bit greater margin for error because of the increased distance compared to down the line or cross-court, over the middle. That ball, she doesn't get cross-court enough, and it sails just long. 4-2-1 is the score. Four 2-2 is the score. 5-2-1 is the score. Newman and Irvin collide paddles there. It's really interesting to see here. There's sort of like a left-right pattern here that Newman and Irvin seem to be using to try to sort of pull either Jardim or Kovalova off the side of the court, forcing their partner then to come and cover the middle and then go to that other side. And interesting to see whether that was using these cross courts like you're seeing here as part of that strategy to really open up space in the middle of the court. There it is again, right? There's that low backhand volley, redirected, not hit with a lot of speed because it is so low, but she's so good at disguising that ball. Six, 2-2. There we go again. You saw here how Lindsay Newman sets up well outside the sideline looking for that forehand Ernie. That makes Jardim and Kovalova think there's some space in the middle, and Irvin just slides over there. She's looking pretty focused right now and puts away that two-handed backhand. There we go. Again, Jessie doing a good job dodging that ball. Kovalova loading up on the backhand side. 8-2-2. And that ball also goes just long. Again, risky to go down the line with the lob. Not a lot of distance to work with. Let's say hi to Jarkko Valen watching from Finland. I know that pickleball is growing quite a lot there. Here we go. That's what we talked about earlier, using those cross courts effectively to open up the court. 2-8-2. Lucy had the right idea, looking to drive that ball, was high enough, but just catches the top of the net and sails a little to the right. 8-2-1. Lindsay yelling at Jessie Irvin to get on her horse there. 8-2-2 is the score. Lucy had that one lined up, but just misfired. So right now we're seeing a combination of strong play by Newman and Irvin, and also a few uncharacteristic. Oh, wow, we'll try that again. A few uncharacteristic errors from Jardim and Kovalova. There's another example there. That high backhand, not much you can do besides laugh it off. Got to think right now Kovalova and Jardim are really now playing for game number 2 here. Game point. And with that side out, Kovalova and Jardim, they're still in this mathematically, but I've got to think that this is really about sort of the momentum that they're hoping to build on going into game number 2. So much of pickleball is about having the confidence to play well, to hit those shots as precisely as you need to. And right now I would say that Kovalova and Jardim not playing with a ton of confidence. You saw Jardim give Lucy a bit of a pat on the backside there, even though she didn't hit the winner, but trying to make sure that she and her partner are feeling good as this match progresses. Lucy's not going to feel good about that forehand. All right, with that side out, Jessie Irvin serving with another game point here, 10-3-1. Kovalova, good job getting that ball down and hard. See a little paddle tap there from Jardim. Again, Irvin and Newman really using those cross courts, and that is an unforced error. With that, Newman and Irvin take game number 1. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with game number 2 coming at you. PPA, Mesa, Arizona.
Not today. Break's over. You dropped something.
That's a wicked backhand.
To Mesa, Arizona. You're here watching the inaugural PPA event. And if you're just joining us, we saw Lindsay Newman and Jesse Irvin run out to a quick start in this match, taking the first game in decisive fashion. And Jesse Irvin will be serving, this time with the sun at her back, to start off game number 2. The winner of this match, of course, is going on to play against Lee and Annalie Waters, who we just watched earlier on in this game. In this day, I should say. So got to think here, given how many balls right now we're seeing go towards Newman, is that that's going to be the strategy that Kovalova and Jardim are using here early on. You can see why, as Jesse Irvin goes all over the court. She's going to take that overhead smash. There we go. Crowd likes that one. Now, of course, Kovalova and Jardim, known for their offensive skills, known for putting pressure on, known for hitting hard. And there's a really nice example of why these two women are two of the best in the business. That ability to play defense when they need it and to be able to steal that rally from Newman. That ball sails just a little bit long. Very often what happens in those situations, the ball's so quick, yes, the players will call it out, but by the time they call it out, the ball's already past them. And so there is that sort of delay between when you see what's happening and when you can get the words out of your mouth. Many of you players at home will be familiar with that feeling, realizing the ball was out but a little bit too late. And so here what we saw is Newman and Irvin so good at reading the ball themselves not to hit it. (0-0-2) is the team's trade side outs. And again, Kovalova and Jardim looking to go at Newman primarily. They will go back towards Irvin in the open court just to try to keep her honest, not allow her to take up too much space in the middle. Got to think we're going to see Simone doing a little more work here in the middle of the court. Lucy's missed a few balls lately. Getting a little bit frustrated, and so sometimes what you need is a partner to really step in there, start to dictate play a little bit, take some of the pressure off of you, and together get your team back in the swing of things. 0-1-1. See the frustration from Lucy Kovalova. There we go. She's going to like that one. A little bit of a growl from Kovalova after that nice around the post. A well-placed ATP. What makes that so such a good shot is not just that it's hit hard, but that it's hit so low. Speaking of low, that forehand drive is right in the sweet spot there. And all of a sudden, Kovalova and Jardim have a little bit of momentum. Classic Simone Jardim right there, really taking that wide stance, reaching to get the ball in the forehand when it's as high as possible. And so good at misdirecting where she's going to play that ball. There you go. Jessie Irvin trying to go into the stands for that ball. Good offense. We're going to have a quick timeout here. We're going to be back in a second. This hydration break brought to you by our friends at Jigsaw Health. Between Third Shot Sports, the Pickleball Lab, and Pickleball Coaching International, we got you covered. And we are back live here in Mesa, Arizona. Mark Renison here bringing you the live stream from the inaugural PPA event here in Mesa. You're looking at Lucy Kovalova and Simone Jardim playing Lindsay Newman and Jessie Irvin. And after winning the first game quite convincingly, Lindsay Newman and Jessie Irvin down a little bit here, 5-1-2 in game number 2. And that's why they took that timeout, try to slow the momentum of Jardim and Kovalova as Lucy's backhand volley goes into the net. 1-5-1. Lucy's so good at hitting that backhand dink with considerable spin, makes it tough for players to be really precise. And you get that little bit of a skid off the bounce. But I think that was a missed ATP opportunity for Newman. Uh-oh. And Lucy has got to be thinking to herself, how many times do I have to put the ball away before we actually lose the point? Great defense from Irvin and Newman, but that's what you've got to do out here if you want to be able to compete with these women. She's had a few of those softer shots she's trying to play sit up a little bit. She gets into a bit of a rhythm here and then hits those balls really well. But sometimes there's that initial ball sits up a little more than she'd like. It's a great block volley from Kovalova on that first backhand. Newman misses that backhand volley into the net. Seemed like maybe a little bit indecisive whether she was going to play that ball out of the air as a volley or after the bounce. And that ball goes just long. (5-2-2) is the score here in game number 2. Newman and Irvin took game number 1. And the winner of this match will go on to play Lee and Annalie Waters. There's the around the post and out. (2-5-1). Simone Jardim dodges that ball. Had someone asking me about the temperature here. I'm going to ask my meteorologist sitting beside me, Miss Ashley LaRue, lets us know that it's 67? 66 and sunny here. And what is that in Canadian?
That's up to you.
It's about 18 degrees Celsius, 66 Fahrenheit. I'm sure someone listening is going to do the actual conversion for us. But no, it's a very pleasant day out here. Really nice, beautiful. So one of the reasons we're having this tournament here. (5-2-1). Lucy Kovalova, Simone Jardim trying to extend their lead here, gain some of the momentum that they lost early on. And shots like that are going to do it. One of the things we saw earlier on from Newman and Irvin was that they were really using angles a lot more than they were now. They were really kind of hitting equally to Simone and to Lucy, often on the cross court that would open up space, either through the middle or more commonly when the one player would go out wide to receive the ball, her partner would slide across the middle, and then that would open up another cross court opportunity. And it looks like Newman and Irvin have kind of left that strategy a little bit now, instead choosing to hit more balls at Kovalova, as she's in a little bit of a slump. 2-6-1 is the score. There's a point. 3-6-1. And that's a great angled volley by Kovalova off that forehand side. She's such a tall player. It's a real advantage in pickleball. You can have a longer reach and get those balls before they get too low to create those angles that are a little bit tougher to do when the ball gets down near the ground. There you go. That ball goes off the top of the net. Bad luck for Kovalova and Jardim. (4-6-2) is the score here. Lindsay Newman serving. I think she's got to be a little bit careful with the height of contact when she hits those forehand serves. She's not serving very high intentionally or to cause a lot of trouble with her serve. She already talked to us about that. But she's quite casual with the way she serves. And of course, when you make contact with the ball, you've got to be below waist high, which is defined as your belly button. Although in all my years of coaching and watching and commentating pickleball, I've never heard a referee say, "Excuse me, ma'am, can you please lift up your shirt so I can see where your belly button is?" So it's always a little bit of a guess. That ball sails just a little bit wide. And we're going to go to a quick break here. This break brought to you by Jigsaw Health. We're going to be back in a moment with more from game number 2 here at the PPA event in Mesa.
People have this conception that pickleball, oh, that's an old person sport, but I don't think they realize how physically demanding it is with those quick bursts and long, grueling points. The first US Open, I found myself cramping in 2 different events. When you start cramping, it's too late. And when I first started playing, I wasn't ready for that. The biggest difference I feel on the court with Jigsaw products is I'm not cramping at all. It gives you that mental confidence that your body's going to hold out. Jigsaw products will provide a lot of value to you both on and off the court.
So between Third Shot Sports, the Pickleball Lab, and Pickleball Coaching International, we got you covered. All right, welcome back. Championship Court here in Mesa, Arizona. We've been treated to a delight of a match between Lucy Kovalova and Simone Jardim. And they're up 7-4-1 here in game number 2 after losing the first game 11-3. Newman and Irvin have to watch out when Kovalova and Jardim get going here. They're so dangerous to go on a run. Jardim taking over the center of the court. There we go. All right, the players are going to take a quick timeout, but we're going to stay. We'll stay here with this. This hydration break brought to you by Jigsaw Health. It's fun to feel good. This timeout really is just about, it's more of a mental break than anything. You can see Newman and Irvin not even talking to each other. They're on opposite sides of the court. Everyone's just taking their own time. Why don't we say hi to a few people that are watching with us. I see Tao Thongvan, great pickleball player watching. Eddie Atkins from the Eddie and Webby Show. You'll know them if you are a fan of pickleball, especially on Facebook. Stacy Townsend. She is doing a project right now where they're doing the pickleball alphabet. And every once in a while on Facebook they put out there a letter of the alphabet and they ask for people to share as many things about pickleball related to that alphabet that they know. Brianna O'Toole, good player, I believe out of Michigan. Scott Golden. Golden Boy Pickleball. You can see a lot of interesting stuff. Scott's doing, one of the great ambassadors for our sport. We're back to the game here. Lucy Kovalova serving. There we go, and that momentum continues. Jardim and Kovalova. We had someone ask if the Jigsaw products taste good. They certainly do. I've been sampling them quite a lot. Here, we're watching game point here. Lucy Kovalova. Simone Jardim got a little bit of help off the top of the net. And you see the apology from Simone. She doesn't really want to give that point back. And while these players get ready to go the distance for game number 3, we're going to go to a quick timeout ourselves. We're going to be back in a moment with more from Mesa, the Pro Pickleball Association. Stay close. When someone's like, oh, hey, what was that website, or what's that book you're talking about, or whatever, then she'll just drop it in. And it doesn't mean it takes 2 people to do one stream. It's almost always worth it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You couldn't even have people from a team back at home if you needed to.
Yeah, like they don't have to be, and that's why I said to the Nationals guy, to Philip, I was like, hey, for next year, we need a support person who can like do that stuff. And it could be one of your team who's like here in Indian Wells, or it could be someone who's elsewhere who can do it. But
Are you on the Wi-Fi? You must be.
this one is, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Are we good, Carl? And we're back. This is the first point of game number 3, 0-0-2. The winner of this goes on to play Lee and Annalie Waters. All right, now that put away, you got to wonder, why is Jessie Irvin so fired up? Didn't even win a point there, just got the side out, and that's because she knows that this match is so much about momentum right now, and she feels what's happened in game number 2. Got to think that she and Newman had a little bit of a drop in confidence after Jardim and Kovalova really sort of played at the level we expect from them. And that's why to win that point early on, I mean, we talked before about how it's fun to feel good. That was a good example of it there. And so we're still at 0-0 here. That ball going out. We've got another side out. 3 serves in a row, 0 points scored. 0-0-1, Kovalova to serve. Just a reminder, if you're thinking about how great an event this looks, why not come down? We're going to be here till Sunday. The tickets are very expensive to get in. They cost $0. You can come out here to center court. You can be right by these players. There's Lindsay going for the Ernie. Sort of the Ernie, a mini Ernie. It's free to be here. It's a wonderful time. There's great food stands. There's entertainment. You get to rub shoulders with the pros. Lots of vendors have samples here that you can try. You can get some cool PPA merchandise. Really is an exciting time to be part of pickleball right now. That was an exciting shot for Jardim and Kovalova, that strong forehand swinging volley. Irvin can't quite hang on. Kovalova gets handcuffed on the backhand side. The ball goes just out. 2-0-2. Look how far over. There we go. We talked earlier about how so much about playing high-level pickleball is confidence, right? To go for those shots where you know the difference between winning and losing is so thin. And if there's any sort of hesitation or doubt that you can make it, that can be costly. Great defense from Newman. There we go. What a great shot. You got to think that Irvin was looking for that ball to go to the middle based on where Jardim was positioned, but Simone's able to hit the outside part of the ball. right towards that right hip. It's so tough when you get jammed on that forehand side. Tough ball. You gotta think when you see the Jardim fist come out like that she's feeling it right now. And it's one thing to say about Simone, she's such like an emotional player out there, and she'll talk about that. And when she's feeling good, her partner starts to feel good, and so that fist is a real indicator that Simone's feeling it, and that she believes that they can win this point, and she wants to, she wants some of that feeling of being able to win to rub off with whoever she's playing with, whether it's a partner or an opponent. 2-2-2. There we go. So we talked about that. That was a pattern that earlier on in the match that we saw is that Newman and Irvin were moving Kovalova and Jardim left and right, and this time Kovalova and Jardim did it to Newman and Irvin. One of the risks when Lindsay goes for that Ernie when she's standing outside the sideline is that either leaves a hole open in the middle or forces her partner to come over and take some of that space. So it is a little bit of a risky play. 4-2-2. And with that, we get a side out. Jesse Irvin to serve at 2-4-1. I would argue that of all the women that we see play this level of pickleball is that being able to attack successfully off of low balls, like a volley that's taken ankle height, I would put Jessie Irvin up there with any of them. Even sitting back here, I think, okay, she's just going to play a little dink. She's just going to reset the point, and she instead accelerates, and whether it's the forehand or the backhand, she's so strong off both those sides, even just using her wrist and forearm, that she's always a threat from that position. Four, 3-1. Kovalova and Jardim trying to add to this lead here. Nice example of what happens when one person starts to poach more, starts to cover more of the middle. It can work effectively as a way to bait them to hit the ball to you. He looked a little bit indecisive there on that low ball. 5-3-2. Simone is so good at keeping that ball low. Still hitting it with decent speed, hard enough that it's challenging. Opponents don't have a lot of time to react, but so low that the players have to contend with it. And if they are going to hit it back, really can't do much damage because by the time it gets to her, between the height she's hitting at and the top spin that's on the ball, it's forcing them to hit up. And that's a really tough ball for anyone to handle. So, Bill, there's no line judges here for this match right now, and we could have a debate later about why that might be. I think generally these four women and most of the pros, to be honest, trust each other enough out there. They're used to seeing the balls coming at this speed that earlier in the day we saw a couple sort of times where people question their opponents about call, but nothing too serious. And for the most part, I've definitely seen more times where I thought balls were out and players yet still played them because they were confident they were in. So it's been good sportsmanship all around. 7-3-2. Jardim Kovalova on a bit of a roll here. With great defense from Simone and offense. And with that ball that goes out, we get a side out here. 3-7-1. Lucy was sitting on that backhand ready for it. We're going to go to a quick break here. This quick break is brought to you by Jigsaw Health. We'll be back in a moment with the conclusion of game number 3. Stay close.
In pickleball, the last thing I want to think about when I'm playing is cramping or if you're able to perform 100%. Last US Open, I was playing singles and I was feeling like my right calf was getting like really stiff. And I was just like, okay, how can I help my body to perform better? When I start taking Jigsaw products, I'm going to have energy, I'm going to have good endurance, and I don't have to worry about me being tired or I'm going to cramp, so I can just play 100%. You only have one body, so you need to take care of it.
And welcome back to Championship Court here at the Mesa Tennis Center. We're here with a packed house. It's actually an overflow room. We've got the stands are full. We've got people around the broadcast booth on all sides. Feels like every couple minutes they're getting a little bit closer to me. And we've been treated to a great match so far right now, really going back and forth. 4-7-1 is the score here in game number 3. Newman Irvin taking game number 1. Looked like they had things under control. That was actually a lot more the kind of point that we saw in game number 1. And in game number 2, Kovalova and Jardim fought back. They took it in convincing fashion. Now it's 5-7-1. There we go, nice attack there. Irvin can't quite handle it. Sends that ball too high. Goes out. Five, 7-2. Anyone who plays a lot of pickleball will know that it's so much about streaks, right? Can you go on a streak? Can you go on a little run? And it's amazing how many points can be won in such a short period of time. 7-5-1, Jardim serving. She's going to take over a lot of the middle of the court, allow Lucy to get up to the net where she can be a threat. And Lucy had that one lined up, just a little bit too low. That ball lands in. Oh. All right, a little bit of a dispute, and of course, if there's ever a... Okay, that ball almost... They're going to take a little time out here and talk that over. This hydration break brought to you by Jigsaw Health. We're going to stay here for a minute and talk to some of the people watching. Let's see who's watching. If you're there, say hi. I see Sarah McInnes from Ontario, Canada. Sarah's a friend of mine. Joey Farias. Looking forward to seeing him later on. Always an exciting player, and you've for sure been seeing him in some of these commercials. We did have Eddie earlier from the Eddie and Webby show, and now we've got Webby joining us. Doing some really interesting stuff in the pickleball world with those guys. Ted Blackburn is watching from home. Eddie Medina Jr. from California. He's been really involved with the Say No to Naked Eyeballs campaign, which is advocating for people to wear eye protection when they're on the court. Muskego, Wisconsin says hi. Ian Moss. Gerald Swift. And Ian Moss says hi. All right, we're back. 5-7-1. Lindsay Newman serving. Simone disguises that drop volley. Newman's able to get to it. And there's the forehand around the post. That's going to fire up Newman and Irvin. Love how Jessie waited just long enough for that ball to get out wide enough that she could really attack it. She hits it for a clean winner. Simone had to know it was coming, but just couldn't quite get there in time. 6-7-1. Newman to serve. There we go. Lucy Kovalova finds the right spot. That tight forehand hip is a good place to aim. 6-7-2. Simone misses that drop in the net. Yeah. You heard Irvin asking Newman whether they wanted to switch or stay. Lindsay told her she wanted to stay. Let's play it straight up here. There's that backhand. So strong off that backhand side. From Jessie Irvin. She puts those balls away. Often will play with two hands, but can also put it away with just one. Okay. Got a little excited on that one. You could hear her say right there, it's not there. Not every ball is attackable. 6-7-2 here in game number 3. Winner of this match goes on to play Lee and Annalie Waters. That is such a tough shot. Seven, 6-1. Teams playing pretty tight pickleball here. Kovalova and Jardim would love to extend their lead here. Lucy getting dangerously close to that sideline. She's trying to open up some space in the middle where she or Simone could attack. You can see Lucy standing pretty far out left to use her forehand to run around the backhand. That gives her more offensive options. That is a tough miss, and you know I appreciate Lucy's approach here, right? That could go one of two ways. That could be a paddle smasher, or that could be a laugh-it-off kind of shot. And that she's taking it as a laugh-it-off kind of shot. They're going to take a quick hydration break from Jigsaw Health. We're going to be back in a moment with more, the conclusion of this match. Stay close.
I got your new paddle.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Could you sign it?
Yeah, I signed all those.
That's not your signature.
That is indeed my signature.
But I did not see you sign it myself, personally.
Okay.
Maybe just a...
And welcome back. You're joining us for the conclusion of this terrific match, women's pro doubles here in Mesa, Arizona. The first PPA event of the year, 7-6-1. And Lindsay Newman can't believe she missed that shot, went right off the end of her paddle. Players are going to take a quick timeout. We're going to stay here through this. And I'm going to let you know about a couple other things. If you would like to become a member of the Professional Pickleball Association, head over to their website, ProPickleballassociation.com. You can join. There's a promo code you can use, first year. Here, I'll write it in the first year. You can join for free. Tell them I sent you. You can get all sorts of information, the rankings, you can get discounts, you can get great PPA merchandise and more. Oh, you're in a commercial? And yeah, you can see all the great stuff that's going on, all the different tour stops. If you can't make it out to Mesa this time, we can definitely see you at a whole bunch. There's 6 other events after this coming up. And whether you're coming here as a player, you don't have to be a pro to play. You can play in some of the amateur events. Whether you're coming here as a player or as a spectator, you're going to have a great time. All right, back to the action. 8-6-2 is the score. Nine, 6-2. I think that's going to make it 10 right here. Ooh, that one almost got over. Great defense from Newman and Irvin, forcing him to extend the point a little bit longer. Okay, we're going to stay here even though these players are taking a little break. With match point coming up, this hydration break brought to you by Jigsaw Health. And let's see, what else can I tell you about? Who else is watching? We've got Josh who's watching. Ian Moss is threatening to take my job during the commentary. That's tough. Best way, if you do like what you're hearing, what you're seeing, the team at Pro Pickleball does such a good job putting on this live stream. Be sure to hit that share button. That way you can let your friends know. Put it in your favorite Facebook group so other people can enjoy. Speaking of enjoying things right now, Simone Jardim and Lucy Kovalova, they're enjoying a match point here. 10-6-2 after losing the first game. Good defense. That's why it's not always pretty, but if you find a way to put the ball back in the court once more than the opponents, that's all you have to do to win. Jardim misses that ball into the net. It's a well-placed backhand from Kovalova. We've seen some today that she sort of hit at full speed and had a little bit of trouble controlling. That one was about 70%, but really well placed. That was more than enough to win the point. There we go. And as that ball catches the top of the net, that's going to be a side out. And once again, Kovalova, Jardim, they've got a match point on their paddle. 10-6-1. And that is a clean winner right through the center of the court. Catches the baseline. 11-6 in game number 3. Kovalova and Jardim escape a little bit after losing that first game. We're going to go to a quick break. We're going to be back more in a minute. I'm going to see if we can get an encore interview here with Simone and Lucy, and we're going to be back because we've got lots more coming. Mesa, Arizona, Pro Pickleball Association. Stay close. Oh, I probably don't need this. Can I give you that? Thanks. You're live. Okay. Hey, it's Mark Renison here, live from Mesa, Arizona, joined now quickly by Lucy Kovalova and Simone Jardim. Lucy?
Hi.
Bit of a scare out there.
For you.
You're totally under control the whole time?
Absolutely.
Especially
especially in when it was a 7-6 in the third set, right?
And I hit the ground so hard.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you got this.
Yeah, no problem.
That's right. So there was a bit of a momentum change, right? Those two won the first game like pretty easily, pretty handily.
11-3, yeah.
Yeah. And so what was it like? Was it some discussion that happened between games 1 and 2, or is there something else that goes on that kind of like tilted the odds in your favor? Like what happened?
Well, we switched sides and we had a break, and I was like, okay, that was most of my mistakes in the first game. I was missing tape, and I was just like, I could not find a rhythm and missed a couple inches long or wide. So I was just like, okay, I have to put it together. Like, enough of this pickleball. I have to start playing better. I'm here to play with Simone, and we pull it off.
We made a comment earlier that as soon as the Jardim fist came out, that was like a real turning point, right? And how much is it about sort of when that fist comes out about communicating to yourself or to your partner versus making a statement to the other team?
It's all of it. I think it's like, I mean, I always have to bring it up because it is true. Like, I am older, and with age does come experience. Those moments I need to let her know, hey, like, we got this, let's go, because this is crunch time now, and this is it's gotten to that point where it can go either way. So either you push through, or you can't cave in, like you can't let down. You got to put the foot, down and go all the way. And Lucy did that, she like every opportunity, she brought it to herself and created that opportunity. So that's what we needed, and it worked.
Speaking of what you needed, you've got Lee and Annalie Waters up next. What do you need to do against them?
Should we reveal our strategy? I don't think so. I don't think
Maybe
so.
they're watching,
Yeah, Mark, that's a bad question.
You know what? Okay, so you know what? So you know what? We'll just sit here and we'll just watch, and we'll see what that strategy is. Good luck.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so there you have it. Soon we're going to be seeing Lee and Annalie Waters taking on Simone Jardim and Lucy Kovalova. Before that, we're going to see two of the women that you just saw out here, Lindsay Newman and Jessie Irvin. They're going to be taking on Catherine Peranteau and Andrea Koop. So stay close. We're going to be back with more from PPA here in Mesa. That was great.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to reset. We're coming up on our 4-hour max, so I'll be restarting here shortly. Once we come back on, please share it on. Really appreciate it. Thank you.